Slums, dreamed of light where only shadows hung. Joined the ranks with thoughts ablaze, but darkness met him in government haze. Evil he saw hidden in plain sight, couldn't change it despite his might. He watched Puck fall to this cursed plight, sorrow etched deep in the dead of night. Groggle can fight against the dark, a hero seen where others embark. Lost his father from Mamia's call, this goblin can't escape it all. Left the ranks when hope was thin, found new strength in depths within. Fought the race that capped his kin, vowed to never let them win. In the alleys where the whispers blend, he found new friends who'd fight till end. Through fire and tears they'd mend, together they'd make shadows bend. Groggle can't fight against the dark, a hero seen where others embark. Lost his father from Mamia's call, this goblin can't escape it all. Left the ranks when hope was thin, found new strength in depths within. Fought the race that capped his kin, vowed to never then let them win.
Introducing Duval's Imports, your passport to luxury and authenticity. Are you tired of settling for mediocrity? Are you craving a taste of the extraordinary, the exotic, and the truly exceptional? Look no further than Duval's Imports, where every product is a masterpiece sourced directly from the corners of the globe. At Duval's Imports, we don't just offer goods, we provide experiences. Step into our enchanting stores and prepare to be whisked away on a journey of discovery, where each item tells a story of distant lands and rich cultural heritage. From rare spices that ignite the palate to exquisite jewelry that sparkles with elegance, our collection is a testament to the beauty and diversity of the world. But beware of imitations. Unlike those dastardly competitors, Twaddle and Consternation, who peddle cheap knockoffs and mass-produced junk, Duval's Imports stands for authenticity and quality. We handpick every item, ensuring that only the finest craftsmanship and the purest ingredients make it to our shelves. When you choose Duval's, you choose excellence. So why settle for second best when you can experience the best? Visit Duval's Imports today and elevate your lifestyle with the treasures of the world. Don't let Twaddle and Consternation fool you with their gimmicks and tricks. Trust in Duval's for an unparalleled shopping experience that will leave you enchanted and inspired. Duval's Imports, where luxury meets authenticity.
quiet to fail. I sing in the hollow space in between, drifting like starlight awake in a dream. Reach through the silence, slip past the veil, follow my whisper too quiet to fail. Silver threads pull the tide, lost in places light can't find. Come too close, fade too far, or where I end is where you are. Do you hear me? Do you know? I am waiting, soft and low.
In the alleys, unknown shadows creep, where the Shia lies awake and won't sleep. With Mamiya in hand, he'll plot and he'll plan. Cities sink beneath the weight of his clan. Necromancer whispers into the void, toys with the living lives he has destroyed. Devil dealing drug lord in disguise, he'll carve out your soul right before your eyes. Who will stop him who's brave and strong? Who will fight against the wrong? In the night where the shadows fall, who will rise to heed the call?
Welcome to Meta Hysteria, the slightly more organized sibling of Sensible Hysteria.
And by organized, we mean at least wrote down a few questions down this time.
This is your behind the scenes pass to the chaos, where we unpack the rules, the roleplay, the unhinged decisions we swear seemed like a good idea at the time.
We'll be answering your questions, sharing character insights, and probably arguing about some Pathfinder rules at some point.
I'm sure that will go so smooth.
So grab your dice, your notes, and your completely unverified theories.
And welcome to Meta Hysteria. All right. So, really great first attempt, I think.
Yeah, it's decent. I mean, it's better than some of the other things I put together on the fly.
I mean, you kind of mentioned it one time, and I've been thinking about it since. So I've been kind of throwing some stuff together and just putting it in a notepad. So we'll see how it goes.
Hey, I'm happy for any excuse to talk about all the world I made and all the stuff that's come about.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what's the point in not talking about it?
True.
Yeah.
True.
So
Well, let me ask you something real quick, actually. I'm going to take over, take your spot, take your question.
Oh no!
Why do you think I called it Sensible Hysteria?
I kind of feel like we're in a dystopia. Obviously, we know that. That's the setting. All dystopias fail at some point, and the hysteria comes from how it's failing and people trying to deny the fact that it's failing, and it's sensible because the fact that you know it's failing is in and of itself sensible. But perhaps, I don't know, that's my best guess.
Fun. I'm not going to give the exact everything, but when the only sensible answer, the only thing that makes sense, the only logical solution is hysteria, is kind of what I went with that, to have a linear argument without actually describing it, without saying what it is.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I guess that does answer my first question. What inspired sensible hysteria? So that's good. Hey, you did it yourself. Great job.
Yeah. It actually came from a book I wrote a long time ago, or at least I wrote the outline and then wrote several of the first chapters, and then I decided to rework it in such a way where I could do tabletop RPGs. So it's a cooperative storytelling rather than just here's my idea. And I think it's worked a lot better doing it that way than just here's my idea, here's everyone's idea.
So this was originally supposed to be your novel, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you've met all of the main characters. Yeah, you've met all the main characters already. Some of them are your allies and some of them are your enemies.
That's fair. That's good to know. No surprises then in the end is what you're saying, right?
Oh no, I have everything set up. Yeah, I mean obviously you guys have your choices and you can choose whatever you want to do, but there is a end point to all of this, which I look forward to. I want to see how you guys come up with it, and I have obviously been putting in a ton of little hints everywhere I can.
Of course. And as you should be. But before we get too deep into it, I do want to ask you, for anybody who's listening out there, which there may be no one, but there could be a person somewhere who doesn't know, how did we get together as a group?
Let's see. So, a couple people, actually it goes all the way back, at least for some of the people in this, to COVID, actually. I used to be the guy who made fun of tabletop RPGs, those neck-bearded nerds. And then COVID happened, and I was bored out of my ever-loving gourd. And I was living in DC at the time. And I decided, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go check out one of these gaming places. And the group I joined for literally one session, everyone there was military and everyone there was jacked. And I'm like, how am I basically the guy I've been making fun of, and I'm the most out of shape here? Huh. And then I started playing, and after I saw this muscle-bound, massive jock of a man start talking in a fairy voice because he was playing a pixie, I'm like, oh, all right, this is kind of fun. All right, I can enjoy this. If even that kind of guy can do it. And that led me to meet with some other people, which led me to meet some friends of friends, and that's how I met Rob, who was playing Gaston, and spoilers, now he's just playing LaRue. Um, and then everyone else was a, I think you and Nate were from Hideous Laughter's um, Find a Game part of their Discord, and Nick was Nate's brother.
Yep.
That's how we all met.
Yeah, I remember I'd messaged a couple of people about games before I had talked to you, and about 3 of them had fallen through. And I messaged you just because I was like, you know what, whatever, fuck it. I guess I'll just message this guy. And I figured it was going to fall through like every other one did. And then the group that you had, it was me and Nate and for the listeners, I'm Pona, obviously. That's just my screen name. I do have a real name, but I don't use it too much. But Nate is, and me and 2 other people that just promptly were like, yeah, I don't have time for this. And I was like, oh, good. Another one just fell apart. And then Nate was like, oh, I have my brother. And then you were like, oh, I have this other guy. And we all just kind of pulled it together and went, all right, we're playing at this time. Let's go.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do this story for a while, as I said, so I was kind of like, we're doing it, doing it. And I think everyone that was in the group was actually not just kind of flaky, or they just wanted to be a murder hobo or whatever. They actually wanted to play the game, do a tabletop RPG, and I think it turned out quite well, at least the group-wise.
I think so. So I will ask you a question about it. Why Pathfinder 2e over 1e? Because at the time, it was kind of in that transitional period where a bunch of people had gone to 2e, but a lot of people were still in 1e because this is pre-remaster that we started playing. So why did you choose 2e over 1e or any other system, really?
So I was stubborn. When I first started playing, it was during COVID, because I didn't play before then at all. And I was 1E is the best. 1E is the best. Screw 2E. I don't like it. The way they do action economy, I don't like it. The spell, the counteract checks, I don't like it. And then I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been the another player we had who played the character of Sean before this current season. I think he had me play a game. It was like a one shot, or it was Rob. I don't remember. Where we did 2E, and I'm like, all right, this is pretty decent. And then I started to like 2E just better. Obviously, there's some things that aren't in there, but I think 2E just runs a bit better, as in quicker, faster, and it makes a little more sense the numbers wise. And especially in comparison to 1E, counteract checks are not broken up the wazoo as they are in 1E when it comes to magic counteract.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, personally, I like 2e a lot. A lot of it just clicks for me in a really personal way. I really like how you can make characters, and I like the idea of how they did the feats. I don't think they made it. Maybe they didn't do it to the amount that I would have liked, or like did the shifting feats or whatever and just have a chassis of a class the way I would have loved, but I really do like it and it really clicks with me personally. So I mean, I get that a lot actually. And I played 1E since it was first out, because I started playing D&D with 3.5 when I was 13 years old in my parents' basement. So I am that guy that you used to make fun of.
Yeah, well, I'm also that guy now, so.
Well, that's fair. Yeah, yeah. So you, we don't really have everyone else here. I kind of gave you my background with TTRPGs, but do you know anyone else's background? Does anyone else have like a big, vast background of tabletop games?
Yeah. Rob has a lot. Rob's story is actually pretty hilarious of how him and I first started playing. So he has a lot, mostly Pathfinder. I think he has some Call of Cthulhu and a couple other stuff. But
Mhm.
his is a story maybe for another time. But how him and I first interacted was a friend of ours who was playing in the first game I ever ran, which was Mummy's Mask. Wonderful campaign, um, which is kind of the opposite. I won't go into too many spoilers on there, but it's current time Galateron, and you're dealing with ancient history, which may or may not have to do with the Shori Empire. It does. Um, and one of my players at the time decided to run a one shot, more as a thank you for me to give me a break because I was getting burnt out because I did too much. And at the time, I had some players who were a bit rough around the edges, and sometimes that's just a thing. And it was the first time meeting Rob, and the GM, let me play a character that was probably questionable at the time. I played a Cheliax minor noble, like a seventh son, I believe, of one of the major families, which means he's nothing but a little racy towards halflings.
Mhm.
And Rob decided to play a halfling. So I was doing all the research and stuff. I'm like, oh, what do they do? Oh, they call halflings slips. Why do they do that? I don't know, but that's funny. And then keep going. And then first session, never talked to Rob before, never mentioned it. He played a stereotypical happy, hopeful, loving freedom halfling in, I forget where the setting was, but it was away from Chiliax. And my character was a emo My Chemical Romance bard, and kept on also high at all times. Oh, dude, man, I gotta work with a slip. Oh, and after the second session, I was obviously keeping it tame, but also still doing that in there and doing little jabs and stuff. I'm like, hey, man, I should probably make sure that I'm not pushing any boundaries or anything for this guy I've never met before. And then, so I messaged him and we talked, and he was like, no, it's awesome. It's great. It lets me go into the character. We do this and that and this and that. And I'm like, ah, sweet. All right, cool. I was nervous.
It's always a risk to do that stuff, honestly, and that's a really great play. And it's so good that Rob was on board with it. To kind of bring it back to sensible hysteria a little bit. This is going to be my last big question of like an overarching thing, or I'm going to get into a little bit more specific stuff. But like, tell me the tone that you're going for. The name kind of goes with like a planned chaos or like a controlled chaos. What were you planning on with the name and also with the story that you're planning to tell? Overarching, of course.
So obviously trying to stay away from spoilers, but some of every character has their own thing, and we kind of this last session kind of had that quite a bit. Um, there are good and bad with everybody, and I tried to play on the cultural aspect versus the counterculture aspect of how stories are written, where there's never really a bad guy or there's never really a good guy because everyone has character flaws because they try to build characters as characters. But the Shori Empire is in the Pathfinder setting, a massive empire that rose to unbelievable heights and then just suddenly disappeared. It vanished, it fell. And how does that happen? And then going back to what I was saying about culture and counterculture, how has that happened in our history? How has that happened in our stories? typically it's basically the Jurassic Park thing. Why did something so big fail? Because people stopped asking, should we do it? They just asked, can we do it? They didn't question, should we play God and create these dinosaurs? They just, hey, can we do that? I think we can. Let's do it. And it goes downhill from there. So, playing back with the sensible hysteria part, how does this mighty empire fall? What it leads to it? Who can survive it? What happens to the few good people who are in there? What happens to the people who are truly bad in there? And how does that impact the overall world? If that makes any sense.
That makes quite a lot of sense, and I really enjoy. Obviously, I personally enjoy the setting, because I've done what I can to help you do a little bit of world building where you've asked me to, or where you weren't sure where you were going with certain things, and you just asked for a little bit of extra stuff. So I'm obviously very invested in it personally. So I think it's great. I love every part of it so far. And the direction you're coming at it from is super interesting to me personally. So as a jumping point, we didn't broadcast our first season, basically. We did that all off podcast. We did it all on our own. What made you decide that you wanted to take this show, this podcast, this campaign on pod, or advertise it, or do whatever we're doing with it? What made you decide to make that change?
Figured why not? So in the prequel to your guys' game, which is the one that is the book, it's a dramatized version of what happened turned into like a book form. I have a character, Jebediah Barlays, tell the story, and it's 4,000 years from the current story in the future, and he's looking back. That one I did record. I recorded more than I actually put on the YouTube channel, but it was just too much of a pain in the butt to edit it all and do everything, and partly because I didn't know what I was doing, and it didn't seem like anyone cared or the players even cared, because the main reason I think I tried to put it on the recording and stuff is, one, so I can have a look back and make sure I have everything right that's happened, because there's certain things that happen where you're trying to come up with as a GM on the fly to match whatever the players are doing, because plan only lasts until it hits the floor.
Of course.
But none of them really were interested in that. But this group definitely did, and it does help me remember things. Like the last session, you guys made so many deals and so many, this is what's happening this day, this is what's happening that day, this is what's happening this day, this person's going to do this thing. And I did not have the time to write it all down. And at the very least, having it recorded so I can go over that and see, oh yeah, LaRue made a deal with this guy. GrongleCon has this date, and this date meeting with different people. This person has this thing, like a bunch of stuff, which I still need to go over actually to make sure I have it all right.
Of course.
You guys did a lot last session.
There was a lot going on. That's kind of why I wanted to do this and why I wanted to kind of make it a little bit more structured. I know the original thought was we were just going to get on and start talking about stuff and see what was going on and what was happening. But I wanted to make it a little bit more structured because I knew there was so much happening that I figured we should just talk about that stuff, or like talk about the general theme of what's going on. We might not dig into like what happened in the previous session just yet, I don't think. But like, I think this is a good starting point anyway of like, there's a lot of shit that just happened. We're only like 4 real episodes in. So we should probably start talking about it. Speaking of, tell me how you fit everybody's character whether in the first season or the second season, into the story that you built?
So that is kind of a challenge I had to work through because I did not want to have DMPCs. I did not want to railroad you guys to oblivion and have it be a story that I might as well just write rather than a cooperative story that we played. So, what I did with that was I altered some of the original story and altered some of the characters, and I had them take what they're doing in a, let's say they're going in a path that is kind of with your guys's, but it's not the main one. Kind of like One Piece. The world still goes on around you guys, despite what you guys do. You guys do a lot that impact it, but you guys move on. So all these other characters go forth and they're doing their thing. But your characters, your individual characters, like Grongolkon, for example, he has an intricate past. He has a lot of stuff with his family. He has a lot of stuff with where he's from. So putting that into the actual game, where can I elaborate on that? One of the original characters was a character that I had named Tyrone. He was a main figure in the slums, the really poor area, and he basically was starting a gang war. In the process, he was stealing a bunch of stuff from the major gangs, and I had a bunch of other stuff that was happening. And after you introduced your character, Gronklecon, I decided to change that character to Doni Doni. And obviously, I tweaked him a little bit more to fit with your character, so your character had more of an impact. And then obviously, as the story went on, Gronklecon had different things happening in the story, and he became closer with Tony Tony. And this was off air, obviously, but Gronklecon saved Tony Tony's life in a basically a duel to the death with Tabby. Is a whole thing that will probably come up later again because it was a big event. But at the same time, this was reeling off of a major PC's death, and Tony Tony was basically the main reason why Gronklecon didn't spiral into absurd depression and just become a figment character. So I try to work things in with the players within the story so that they bounce off each other, so they keep on going. Gronklecon's a great example.
You know, not to talk too highly of myself, but the only one that survived so far. So I mean, like he is a great example because he has existed in this story for so long. Another one is also Snad. Snad had existed in this story for a very long time as well, but he didn't have the same inclusion in the background of the story because he was a foreigner who had come here and just joined the military. So how about you tell me the difference in writing around that character from Grongolkon? So Snad is a halfling cleric who came from Assyria, who the Shori are at war with. So in this city, Snad would be, we would say, an outsider, right?
Oh yeah, and I actually, while writing book 2, which is, I basically took the game that we played and I tweaked it a little bit and dramatized it so it fits more in an audio format, book-like dramatized format. I'm decently far with that, and that will be as soon as book 1's finished being released. I go into that a good amount. But when it goes into Snad, his whole story is he was a cleric living on the ground in Hysteria, which is a country under the sky pharaoh Hakentep, is at war with the Shori Empire. And the Shori kind of ignore it because they're like, oh, little peons bothering us. But it becomes serious. And they send troops down, and one of the equivalent of planes that they were using to attack the Osirion, or from the Shori perspective, defend their sovereign right in the sky, got shot down by the excessive magic that the Sky Pharaoh has, because the Sky Pharaoh has an obscene amount of magic. And Snad's character saved this guy, and this was something that the player came up with, as in why he's in the city. So Snad basically got the equivalent of like a civilian medal, saving somebody, not caring what happened, and decided to join the Shori Empire. And that leads into the story. I had a bunch of stuff that was going on with that and leading into it. There was stuff that was being built up because, one, he was an outsider. Some people didn't trust him. Some people didn't like him. There was a whole bunch of stuff with the church. Like there's almost no Assyrian gods at the church. So Snad at, I think, like level 4 was the highest level cleric for his faith in the entire city. And you met the person that he saved, and there's thoughts and with that between all the different players. But Ajanike doesn't really like Snad. He blames him for saving him, and that has a big impact in the story that I don't think you guys have figured out yet, which is still an active thread.
Yeah, the most I remember is that he was laughing that Snad didn't come back to life after we spent so much money and time on trying to bring him back. And he wanted him to come back to life just for him to suffer, basically.
Hmm?
Is what I took from it, obviously. So a character that comes up a lot for Snad and Grongulcon is Puck. Why don't you tell us about Puck in brief, anyway, and his effect on the story?
Puck was a great character. I had a lot of stuff for him. I really didn't want him to die, but as I'm sure you figured out, if the dice say you die, the dice say you die. I probably try a little too hard to keep you guys alive when it happens. Like the whole thing with Snad, I let you guys do like 9 rolls, but still didn't happen. He died. So Puck was the same way, but Puck had a major role. He had a lot of things going on. A short version, Puck was a lizard folk who had a lot to do with the Barlays family, which I'm sure you figured out by now is a very important family in this story. They have a lot to do with what's happening. And my original plan was to have that unravel a bit more. And that obviously didn't happen because Puck died. And playing a part with that, the Barlays didn't give a shit. They didn't go to his funeral. They didn't do anything. They didn't even say anything. Diana Barlay, sorry, who met with you guys, didn't even bring him up. She's like, "Oh, he's dead, whatever." But he had a great impact, and his death was pretty brutal. Your favorite bad guy, the little clown dolls.
Of course, I hated those guys. They were miserable. And never forget that they turned Snad into a clown doll.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they turned Puck into a clown doll as
sorry.
well.
Puck into a clown doll.
Yes. They're in book 1. You get to see how they were actually made and how it all started, actually. If you listen to that.
Yes, I have. And yeah, it's pretty intense that there was that. I can't remember his name, but he was the fetchling, who was like, yeah, I really like the chaos that this guy brings. And everyone was like, no, don't do it. And he just kept doing it. And it kind of ended up fucking everybody, including us, which was interesting.
Yep. I try to have everything impact stuff. Stuff happens. And instead of just a one-off, like, oh, you guys do something. Okay, cool, move on. I like to have things actually mean stuff. So when you guys make decisions, like, example, in the current part 2 that you guys are doing, you guys, an impactful thing is everything you guys did with One Shot Vein and all the drugs that were in there. You kept most of it. What will that happen? What will that do? What does that impact? Or even more recently, you personally, Grongulcon, let a boogie run away.
Yes, when I got cursed with my fists and I couldn't hit anything. It sucked so bad. I'm so used to killing them so easy, too.
Yes, the boogies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Puck has a whole song which I think highlights quite well. His song I think is one of the better songs because I spent a lot of time figuring that one out. But I think it describes his character phenomenally well before he died. Well, even as he died.
You know what? If you're okay with it, I'd like to play that song, and then we'll come back after about a 4-minute break, and we'll keep going with this.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to play that, and we'll be right back.
Was a hero born of dreams, a lizard folk true in the moon's beams. Joined with the agents at 055, fighting the dark, he kept them alive. Monsters that bumped in the cold dead night, tooth and claw and shadows in flight. Puck stood brave with fire in his heart. In that final clash he played his part. Did I do enough? His thought in the end, as his body fell, defender, friend, torn by the evil name Jamal's might. Closed on that dreadful night. The winds now whisper of Puck's last stand, of shattered souls in a cursed land. What has become of him none can say, a hero's shade lost in twilight's sway. Found family weeps for the bold they lost, a friend laid low, the ultimate cost. But his memory lingers, silver and bright, in dreams and tales he carries the fight. Will he rise again to haunt the foe, or wander through realms where the lost souls go? Only the stars in their timeless spin know the fate carved by where he has been. His thought in the end, as his body fell, defend our friend, gone by the evil name Jamal's might. Fate's curtain closed on that dreadful night. The winds now whisper of Puck's last stand, of shattered souls in a cursed land. What has become of him none can say, a hero's shade lost in twilight's sway.
And we are back. That was a wonderful little ditty for Puck, and I personally listen to it frequently because I need to remind myself why Gronkle Khan fights so hard for the memory of Puck. So, that is that.
Yeah, Puck had a good impact. He was a great character.
He did. Honestly, sometimes the more simple characters have the biggest effects because they are just so straightforward. And I feel like Puck really embodied that in a really healthy way, actually.
He was yeah, he was a good character. He helped the story go along, but he also wasn't too, I don't know, absurdly naive. He kept on picking up every cursed item he could. He's like, "Oh, that sounds like a good idea.
Oh, he really did. Picked up everything he
Let me
could touch.
let me make a deal with the Devil Child." Oh, okay.
So let's talk about this season specifically, that's been broadcasted and such. We're going to talk about some like gameplay stuff and meta stuff or whatever. Tell me, in your opinion, as the DM, what's the most clutch moment using the Pathfinder 2e mechanics that we have used, in your opinion?
Um, Probably not the mechanics, but I think you've 1v1ing One Shot Vane was pretty clutch. You lost two characters, but you 1v1 a major character after two of your other party members died.
I did try to run away. And then they died, and I went, well, I can't just leave their bodies behind like I did with Puck. So, yeah.
But character-wise,
hmm The best use of mechanic or like class ability.
hmm, so there's been a lot of stuff, but the one that sticks out of my head is the most recent one, and that was LaRue. So LaRue took a specific archetype,
Mhm.
which makes him a ghost, which makes him annoying
Yes.
because I can't grab him. I can do damage to him, but I can't grab him. And when you guys were fighting the mutated owlbear,
hmm
spoilers, I guess, but I I could not grab him, and that was a major component of that creature's skill sets. So I basically gave up on trying to grab him. I'm like, I'm ignoring LaRue because I can't do anything.
hmm
I can ignore LaRue, but he did consistent damage. He always did damage, and that creature had resistance all.
Yeah.
So he was, I think, the only one who did damage every turn, other than Hurrit Barlays that you rescued.
Yes.
But she had a crazy gun and had a crazy gun crit.
She sure did. Yeah, and I only really ended up over there because I got feared so hard. If I hadn't gotten feared so hard, I might not have saved her. So, I mean, like, it kind of worked out. I took the crit fail, and I went, you know what? That's just how that works sometimes. And it saved us in the end, really.
Oh, mechanic-wise, I think is actually from Rob because he
hmm
had me double check something because the owlbear had its fear ability, which is pretty brutal, as you saw with Gronkle.
Yep.
But I missed a line that said it pass or fail. It can only be used once every minute. So I thought I was able to keep on using it I don't know why I thought it was every round, but it was definitely every minute. Which in hindsight took out like 40% of its abilities because it could be used once and that's it. Because everything was around its screech that caused fear. So if I couldn't do that, it's like, well, I guess I can grab people now.
That's fair. I mean, you could have just said, well, this one's so mutated, he gets to do it more than once a minute. But I
I
appreciate
don't
you
like doing
didn't.
that.
I appreciate that you didn't.
I mean, I was already throwing a CR8 creature against you guys, so
That's fair. That's
you
fair.
guys were level 6 at the time. Which is why Hurrit was there as well. You could have gotten her. I always try to leave an out when I put it as an extreme encounter for you guys.
hmm
A couple times you have not found it, and you still succeeded.
Yes.
Like One Shot Vane. You guys did not use any of the stuff I put in there.
Nope. We did our own thing and thought that was good enough and didn't look for anything else until we all died.
Yes,
Yes.
I thought I was fairly descriptive about how there was powder and dust in the air and all this stuff. So basically, if anyone used fire, which was one of your character's thing, in an explosive area, it would have done explosive damage. But
Man, that would have been so great.
instead, you guys decided to use an axe against this giant with a gun.
Well, it worked eventually, kind of.
I know, we only had 2-player deaths.
Yeah, only 2. That's only half the crew, so it's not a big deal.
I do feel bad for Rob, because this is his 3rd character I've killed.
To be fair, he did have heat metal. He could have dropped the gun on his own.
You guys had so many options.
So many options. I could have not run in, but I did. I made one bad mistake. Everybody else made one bad mistake. That's kind of how that works.
Oh, yeah.
But, let's see. Out of everybody's feats, abilities, skills, class abilities, whatever, that they use so far, what do you think has been the most impactful? I want to say Trip, but that's because that's a me thing.
Trip has been impactful, but I don't think as much as you think.
No, probably not. It feels impactful because I get to do it.
Your aura has been pretty useful for you.
We
We haven't gotten to much of Vajra's. I said his name right, hallelujah.
Good
But
job.
he has a lot of stuff. You guys have been going into the auras. I think 3 of you now have auras.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is interesting. It's kind of hard because you guys have only done or technically 2 combats with the new party with Vajra because you guys fought the boogie. But
Mm-hmm.
let's see. Every time, who is it? You who has the thing that can make them frightened? Because that's been useful. That has actually.
When I use the Dread Martial Stance on crits, they become frightened. And then I also
Yes,
have the Intimidation.
That has changed some fights. The Dread Martial Stance.
Mm-hmm.
As it was, I think, the last one when you were fighting the. Not the clowns. It was when you were fighting the. The servants of His Majesty, which those of you who don't know, because you don't know, is a creature that they had to fight. It was basically the end boss for the first part, and he was this. I say he, but it was the sentient crown that's based off of an SCP, because a lot of my bad guys are based off of SCPs, because I love horror. If you didn't notice with all the Hysteria stuff that's going on. But it's a sentient crown. This homeless dude put it on his head, and you guys murdered him. But the crown possesses him, and then it has an ability of a very high dominate person effect. So basically, anyone within 30 feet of him is instantly, at the beginning of their turn, if they're in the 30 feet, dominate person. They have to make a will DC. And it wasn't a gimme will DC. Let me see. I think I have it up right here. Yeah, it was a 28.
Yeah, it's pretty intense, actually.
I'm
surprised GK passed it at all.
Yeah, well, the counter to that, as in there's always a way out, was it did not affect anyone below average intelligence. So you guys had at least one character I know of that was unaffected because they were stupid.
Mr. Puck. Wonderful. Just a wonderful man.
But yeah, your fear thing destroyed those invisible fairy things.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, I take it back. The most impactful thing was dark vision.
Oh my
because
god.
Those fairies had an ability, so it cycles through. So every time they shoot their arrow and put pixie dust on something, one of 3 things happen. So the first time they shoot, I forget what it does because it never actually happened. The second time they shoot is they put blindness on the person, and the third time they shoot is confusion on the person. every single time I hit Grongolcon, it was the dark vision, not blindness. Sorry, it was basically
Darkness.
you make it so you can't see darkness unless you have dark vision. So it's just pointless.
Yep.
And because Grongolcon had dark vision, that is the ability that has saved you the most. Because if Grongolcon was blind in that fight, you would have lost more than just Puck.
Oh, it would have been terrible. We would have lost everybody probably. I killed so many goddamn fairies.
And the clowns. Those
And the
clown
clowns.
dolls were
Oh
no
my.
joke.
Thank goodness for Snad picking up their little axes and killing them with it. But like, anyway. Speaking of like combat, because we talked a lot about combat. What's your strategy for balancing combat and roleplay? Because we do a lot of combat.
Do we do a lot of combat?
Well, compared to other podcasts that I listen to, we definitely do at least a small combat per session. Now, that's not per like uploaded session, that's per sit down session. So I mean, maybe it's about the same overall, but we do have
I feel like
a normal
yeah,
amount of combat maybe.
I feel like there should always be a combat when you sit down and play the game. Because everyone has what they like and what they don't like. So some people are more into the RP, and some people are more into the combat. And I think that partly depends on the character you make. So like, if I'm playing and I'm playing a character that is combat oriented, I kind of tune out a bit when it comes to the RP part. But if I'm playing a character that's more RP created, then I am more into the RP and less into the combat because my character is basically useless in the combat and like, well, I'm down again. Okay, cool. Oh, I'm down again. Okay, cool. Versus the RP, if I have a combat guy, it's like, if I say anything, it will fuck up our plans. So I try to have a mix of both, which I think you guys have excelled at decently. Grongolcon is definitely a driving force with the RP, and I think decent in the combat as well. We're slowly getting more into the LaRue stuff, which the LaRue Gaston stuff is synonymous because it's the same backstory basically.
Right.
They were so intertwined. But his is gonna be LaRue's definitely gonna need more of you guys for his backstory to come out because he's basically the Aragon character of our party. He's the fuck you in the corner, angry guy, which only works if you have a party that forces you to come out. Anyway, I digress. I balance it by trying to have at least one combat a game, and I don't like combats being easy. I don't think it's fun if the combat is too. Like, for you guys to face a group of, like, level 3 slimes right now would be boring on all sides.
Yeah.
I like it to be... I like to have the combat once a session, but I want that combat to be impactful. I want it to mean something. So, you guys need to be tactical. I try to provide a way out for you guys every time, just in case it gets to be too much. More often than not, I put too much in there, and then I think it's going to be too much, and then you guys end up stomping it.
Right.
There's been 3 times where that hasn't happened, but every other time it's been you guys stomp it. Those 3 times are pretty impactful.
Yep, that's true.
However, I will also argue those 3 times you guys also all decided to do a rolling encounter instead of one by one.
Right.
I think it was the very first combat you guys did. You were dealing with a riot outside of a house, and some people were getting ready to fight, and there was a couple of people causing chaos, and you had to fight a couple of people, and then one of you decided to jump in through the window into the building, and I'm like, well, I guess we're doing another combat at the same time. Good job, guys.
That was Sean, I believe. He jumped in, and then Grongolcon jumped in right after him. After he killed a couple of people. He killed 2 of the disruptors outside and then jumped in as his last action. But yeah, no, you're right. We do a lot of rolling encounters, mostly because we like to explore the space.
One Shot Vane, I think, was entirely your guys' fault. If you guys, one, didn't go running in at the guy who you have been warned multiple times, be careful, he has range and he's deadly.
Hmm.
And also didn't rolling encounter one after the other. Because I believe I had one of the bad guys run and close the door, and you guys are like, screw that guy, we're going to go chase him, open the door.
No, we stayed in the room with the door closed, and a monkey, the big ape man, punched through a window. Actually,
That was the second room. So the room where One Shot Vane was, which was the main warehouse one,
mm-hmm.
a bad guy ran through there, and then I can't remember if I had him close the door or I was about to have him close the door, but Gaston and LaRue chased after him.
Oh yes, yep. I mean, we did stay around those doors though for a very long time.
It was a round,
It-
not even.
No, we stayed around those doors the whole combat, and kept.
Oh yes.
opening and
Oh, I
closing
thought
them.
you said yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're gonna go from your strategy for balancing combat and roleplay to some spicy questions. it's this stupid section. I'm sorry. So, of all your players, who do you think is the most likely to derail a serious moment? If it's me, you can tell me. It's okay.
I think it depends on the moment. I try to balance every character's story. At least I try to. Some sessions are going to be more focused on certain characters. This section, which is in the second core, which is in the Crescents, is obviously Grongolcon heavy because that's where he's from. But there's a lot of LaRue stuff, and when it's serious LaRue stuff, I don't think anyone's messing with that anytime soon, partly because the character of LaRue, I don't know what Rob will do. He might try to kill you guys. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Rob gets into a character, he gets into a character. I don't know what he's going to do half the time.
That's fair.
Vajra makes a decent amount of jokes, which I enjoy, pulling things out, or at least his player does. But it's only like a 1-2 and then it goes back. If anything, it probably is Amos and his player. It's probably Nick.
Yeah, I'd have to. Just because Amos is who Amos is and Nikki is who Nikki is. And I think he just likes playing this kind of a character a little bit.
Oh, yes. I have a lot of things for him.
Mm-hmm.
He was a little more reserved last session, but I think he was trying to play the, oh crap, 2 people just died. What are we supposed to do? Why did we make a deal with a guy who totally serves an eldritch god? That's a bad idea, right? Oh, I guess we're friends with him. Are we the bad guys? Why are we friends with the guy who works for the eldritch god? But we don't like this Mr. Twaddle or this Duval guy or...
Everybody here sucks. What's happening? Okay.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
So I've obviously put in a bunch of other stuff, and part of that's because I wrote the overall, at least, we'll say the guidelines of this overall story. Of the extra things, because you've listened to or watched a good chunk of it, what part of this do you actually like? Because I've obviously put in a lot of information, and that might be overwhelming, but what do you like? What do you dislike?
So obviously I like that it's a diesel / steampunk adjacent. It's neither, but it's both at the same time. And I know that seems like really overarching, but like the setting itself is super interesting for me, which also kind of like correlates to all of the background information that you've put in. These journalists that exist that write all of these news articles, or the one that we're most interested in, Horn, was it? What's their name?
J.K. Fang?
J.K. Fang. Horn.
Is the
Same thing.
alias?
Yeah. And I think that I have that muted, so you can't actually play it over what I'm saying. Haha. But I do
Oh, I
see
was
that
just
it's
sharing
there.
with you.
Yeah, no. That's fair. Yeah, I think what I like most about the setting and what I like most about the story so far and all of the extra stuff, because there's, like you say, there's quite a bit of extra on the YouTube channel here, is maybe I can actually pull it over and I will, boom. No, hold on. We'll go here. I'll press this button. And I'll go here and press this button and pull this up. Then press that button. There we go. So we have a bunch of stuff here on the there's only one video I think I haven't watched because I was watching it tonight and decided to do this instead. But I've watched everything else on the YouTube channel. And multiple times, a lot of it actually. But Duval, or the redhead,
Damas Barlays.
Damas Barlays. I don't know why I said Duval. Anyway, Damas Barlays is a really interesting character overall, especially where he falls from his confidence and becomes terrified of what he's done. That's been super interesting so far. The main players that he found with him, finding out the repercussions of their actions, is super interesting and also very telling for the things that we could have or may have done. I absolutely love, because especially I asked for them, but the news articles being read out by the old-timey news guy, fabulous for me. Because sometimes I just want to finish work and put my son to bed and just listen to some YouTube while I play a game, and I can do that on the other screen while I'm playing a game. So it works great for me. Sitting down and reading things for hours or sometimes minutes, whatever it ends up being at a time, can be difficult because, life. But I think for me as the player of GK, the most interesting is all of the stuff around Angel, or Angle Simmons originally. Because I just didn't like him so quickly. And you made him such a big deal. And it's just fabulous that it happened that way. And that you allowed it not to just become the big deal, but to exist and persist as that big deal and as that, like, antithesis of who I am.
Well, that's another great example of your actions have consequences. So, in the first part, originally Angle Simmons was just going to be a one shot, and he was going to introduce some things. He was in debt. He owed the Thermia Glacier money, and he was doing a side job as you guys were investigating something. And he was just a sleazy little dude. And some stuff happened. You guys went through a haunted house and destroyed a bunch of haunts and stuff, and found out a bunch of information about Jamoke, who, listening to it, for some reason everyone hates Jamoke. I don't know why.
Don't know. He's just a kid.
Yeah, she's just a little kid. But that led to you guys going and finding Cassandra, and Angel Simmons saw that you guys were in danger and just like, oh, that's dangerous, and ran away. And you guys were all mad about it, especially you, especially Grongolcon.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys went to go deal with whatever you're dealing with, and you ran into Cassandra, and Angel Simmons was over there, And then that whole fight with the boogies happened, and you guys jumped in the window and did a rolling combat. And in the process, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Snad. He just told Cassandra to run away. And in the process, Angel Simmons was there, and then he was running away with her. And then you were just so mad about it. I think you on the fly said something like, if that little mother trucker takes credit for this. And I'm like, he's going to take credit for this now.
Yep.
And it turned into a whole thing.
Yeah, it did. And it's even better because I said, if that little mother trucker takes credit for this. And then I immediately went to Cassandra's father and told him what happened. And even he's not refuting what Angel Simmons has done. And I'm like, I hate it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he has a lot of backstory as well. But you can get it in his songs too.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't even heard his second song.
No, not in game. I have, because it's on his.
No. You haven't heard. So he has the song about him, which is sung by the female voice. He has his song, which was one of his ways of making money, where he just talks about all the things that he did and calling everyone else a liar who doesn't believe that he did this stuff. Says they're all jealous and stuff.
Yeah.
And his autograph is only 5 in gold. But he has another song that he has done that will come out soon. That you're gonna hate. You're gonna hate so much, and I love it.
Hold on now. How soon are we talking here?
It's a couple weeks from now. I have everything set up until the end of June, except for a couple of things I got to do still.
The Rook Who Knows. Oh, here it is. Legend of Grizak and Me. May 25th. Huh.
Yep. What's Grunkle Khan's dad's name again?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I might have to kill this man. Like, I've just been fucking with him since. But, like, if he talks about my dad and makes a song about it, he might actually die. This wasn't what this is supposed to be about. Anyway. The next question was supposed to be, what NPC do you irrationally love or hate? Obviously, it's Angel Simmons, and I will not listen to any other answers. You can't hate anyone else. Which NPC do you irrationally love? Like, love with no reason.
Are you asking me, or are you asking yourself?
No, I'm asking you. I can't ask myself.
Ah.
If it was love, obviously it's going to be Tony for GK. But also Victor. Victor's just... He's a softie. And he shouldn't be a softie in the position he's in, but he's a big softie.
Oh, we've talked about this before. You've dealt with government people. You've met
Yes.
analysts before, and I based Victor off of analysts I've known and met, and
He's just a big
I
softie.
think I did it pretty good. He's a
Yep.
big softie. He's overworked, and he's just. Why is life so difficult? Why do you guys make my life so hard? And trying to solve everything.
Yes.
Um,
And now he's kind of almost in the front line, so he understands why we're doing the things we're doing. And it kind of feels like he's working a little bit harder, which is interesting. And also probably not good for him.
No, I mean, well, he has significantly less people to worry about, because if you remember before, he was being the main source of information, analyst-wise, for 10 special agents of the 055, which is a lot.
That is true. That is true.
But
Now
he
they're all
only has
dead.
to worry about- no.
Well,
Let's see.
mostly.
Snad's dead.
Snad's dead.
Puck's dead.
Uh-huh.
The
Sean's
second
there.
group, you guys, Sean's like half dead.
Yep.
You guys haven't even bothered to check to figure out what's going on with the your competitors / potential allies from the 055.
I will
who
have
also
to
gone dark.
make a point for GK to ask about them. Because I was very concerned about that giant lady that picked me up that one time. Because one of the zombie guy, what's his name? Well, yeah. Mr. Marcus Wolf.
Yeah, you guys don't. Who hated? Who didn't like him? Was it
Um,
you? I think it
probably.
was you. You were possessed technically by the crown, and he's like, "Stop it! You can't do things. Stop it!
Oh
I
yes, he
feel
tried to beat
possessed."
me up, and I was like, no, and I just ran away. Yeah, yep. There, that's the one. The giant lady with the big
Gabriella Cord.
spear. Yep. Oh, and him. Their names aren't showing up on their thing, which is weird. But anyway,
Dr. Marcus Wolf is the dwarf with the mustache.
his name shows up, but the other ones do not.
Oh, weird. Elena Cross is the lady. I don't think you really guys really interacted with her. She's the certain spell casting person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Gabriella Cord is the half giant. And Nigel Graves is the roguish, kind of
Monk.
craven looking dude.
Yeah, yeah, punching and throwing people around. I liked him a lot. He was good. He was good.
They were them and Victor and technically Lieutenant Samsara were
Mm-hmm.
your main allies, but Samsara's, as Victor told you last time, been thrown out of the city basically
Yes.
to go on a suicide mission against the Sky Pharaoh.
Yes. So of them, which do you think will be, without spoiling anything too badly, which do you think is going to come back with either an interesting story without spoiling the story, or coming back with a vengeance?
Oh, Nigel is he has a story that's going on right now.
All right. Good. Good.
All of them do, actually. I have stuff set up for all of them. This is an open world, and wherever you guys go, there's stuff to be found. You just have to figure out where you want to go.
Yeah. That is the hardest part, because there is so much going on and so many things happening.
NPCs, I didn't answer your question.
Yes.
NPCs that I irrationally hate and rationally love. Honestly, the character I think I love most is one that you have not dealt with that much, and that is Jacques.
Okay.
You guys have barely dealt with him. You haven't dealt with him at all in the second part yet. You guys haven't gone anywhere where he's at. I do enjoy Jamoke, even though you guys hate her. I enjoy Jamoke. She's not one of my favorites, but
I hated Jamoke, but gave her a chance because of Puck. And now I kind of like her character, but I hate her at the same time.
I don't really care for Victor. Like, I tried to play him a certain way, but I don't have any pros or cons.
Mm-hmm.
As for a character that I love and hate, I love Tatty. Oh,
Yeah.
Tatty is my favorite NPC. I love Tatty. And then here's a picture of Tatty. Technically you haven't met him. Your characters haven't met him yet, but this is Tatty. I love Tatty.
Oh, okay. I see you.
But of the characters you've met, I think my favorite is Mr. Twaddle, actually.
Oh, yeah, he was creepy.
Mr. Twaddle's great. When you guys meet Dr. Consternation's great too, but as for characters I hate, I don't really hate any of them. Like, there's ones that I'm like, I don't like you because you're bad. But, Krakathoum is great. When you guys meet him, he's wonderful. But ones I honestly think I hate the Shearer because he is just one evil mother trucker. He needs to die, but I also have that character doing his stuff. I didn't even. I skipped over an entire paragraph of his speech to interrupt your story, but I still think it worked. Detective Oswald's fun. You haven't dealt with him yet. Pretty much all the Barlays. Oh, I'm excited for you guys to meet Rosedoll Barlays. That's gonna be fun. There's so many things.
All right.
I love Tony, obviously. I love Tabby, the Heart Eater. Damas Barlays might have been Almost Barley's, the Barley's family. It's probably one of my favorite NPCs. Though, well, I won't spoil. Oh, I take it back. The character I hate the most is Donmer. That man is horrible, and I can't wait for you guys to deal with him. And it kind of irks me that
Oh,
his
yes.
song is the most popular. I don't know why, because I hate this character.
Well, that's what makes him a good character.
You guys have barely interacted with him, though.
We were told not to.
Oh yeah, you were specifically told don't touch this guy, don't talk to him. Oh, that's not Jacques. Where's Jacques? But yeah, that I think is the answer to those questions. I love
Alright.
most of all of them. But
That's fair. That's fair. Let's see here. If the characters were to switch classes for a day, what do you think would happen?
Gronkle Khan would be a barbarian.
With each other.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Gronkle Khan and Amos switching. I just can't see that happening.
Why not?
Gronkle Khan being a nerd, casting spells, and Amos being a brutal fighter. I can't see that happening.
GK could definitely be more like his father.
I can see LaRue and GK switching.
Yeah, okay.
I can see GK getting a little more angry and LaRue chilling out a little bit. Maybe Amos and Vajra, because like Vajra is chill. Like he's the one who's like, "Hey guys, we need to chill out." Like when you guys went to the wake, he was the one who's like, "Wow, there is a lot of really powerful people. I'm going to hide in the corner and not talk to any of them because nothing good will happen here."
And
what
I
does
went
Gronkle
to
immediately do?
talk to everybody. That's his whole character, though, to be fair.
And Amos. Amos
Yeah.
did the same thing.
Amos shouldn't
One
have,
of
though.
the-
Amos isn't meant to talk. He feels like he should. He's not good at it, though.
Something you guys did, which was, for me, a horrible mistake on your part, but I enjoy thoroughly,
Mm-hmm.
is when you sent Amos to go talk to the rich lady. Which was a horrible idea. And
He wanted to so bad. I just couldn't.
You'll find out why eventually. But
That's
here you
fine.
go. Amari Vel,
Yeah.
which I don't think you know anything really about. You're just like, she's rich. Go talk to her.
She's the daughter of the leader of the Tower of Law. Yes?
No.
Tower
No,
of the other tower.
No, none of that. Her
Okay.
family is well off, and
Mhm.
her family is the main funding of Amos's mother's experiments.
Yes.
And his mom is a published researcher. She has a lot of stuff that may or may not come into the future, depending on what you guys do.
Okay.
But it's going to be exciting. That one's an interesting one. Which, if you listen to book one all the way, you'll maybe notice some things.
I think. So let me take a look here. Is part 8 the last part of book 1?
Nope, part 10.
Part 10, okay.
There
Well,
are 10 parts to book one.
all right, well, only part 8 is out right now
Yes.
on
Spoiler.
the Soul Stalker YouTube channel. Plug. That's at SoulStalker881. L in Soul is a 1 as well, so like numbers. Anyway, 8 of 10 are on there. I haven't listened to 8 just yet. It was my plan to do it tonight, but we did this instead, and I thought that's a more interesting thing to do.
With that, if I can ask you, what do you think of that story so far? What do you think of the prequel?
I think the prequel is as convoluted as any plan that we've come up with, so I can see how they ended up where they are. Honestly, like it feels very D&D of them. There's Jack, yeah, Jacques. Like every plan they came up with was so just purely D&D, like just or Pathfinder, whatever. Just such a tabletop decision that they made, and it either went so well or so badly, and you could tell it was the roles that were just telling what was happening and like directing the story, and it's so interesting just listening to the outcome instead of listening to it happen live is a really interesting concept, especially the way we're doing it, where you're doing it through like an AI filter kind of an idea. Even though you're putting in all of the story, you're still putting it in through the filter itself. And I find that really interesting in watching the AI try to deal with, well, these changes happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and this has happened because of these things that were going on behind the scenes, and like how the storyteller AI kind of deals with that is very interesting.
Yes, it's I don't know. I think it's turned out pretty good, and obviously a lot of it is like the one that was the hardest to figure out how to do correctly was, I think it was part 3. It was 2 or 3, where Brand Nightshade had to get the thumbprint of North Stonecall,
Yes.
and because the drink and all that stuff was actually in the at the game we were running, because he's like, his character was very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
But he wanted to do in game some of the most absurd stuff, and he kept on rolling absurdly high and trying to turn that, even when using the AI, this is what happened, and make it sound semi-reasonable
Mm-hmm.
was very difficult, because he did so much stuff. Like at one point in the actual game, he like, oh, while this crazy red-eyed elf is shooting at us, I'm going to sleight of hand take a knife and sleight of hand throw it in the air without her noticing, and move her in a way that it cuts her hand. And it shouldn't have worked, but it did. And putting that into the book, or into book 1, part 1, or part 2, I think, was interesting. Even with the help of AI, it was difficult to not make it sound like a little kid trying to tell their imaginary story.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
But
it's always a struggle, using AI specifically, I guess, in my opinion. But I mean, you're doing a great job, and I think so.
I do want to ask you this real quick, since you're at part 7 is what you've listened to so far.
Mm-hmm.
Of the prequel cast, we'll even include not just the main players, but Dama, Sparlays. I don't think Ode's in 7.
Mm-hmm.
Ode's in there. Spoiler. Grom, and Jebediah as well. There's Hurrit, and like all of all the characters are in there. Which ones do you find the most interesting, and what moments do you think are just convoluted or funny?
I'm actually going to go with the orc, that you introduced in the very first episode, basically. I think he was super interesting just as a character because he was so contrary to what everyone else was doing. And how he fit into the group was really interesting because he was kind of honorable in a den of thieves, which was, I don't know, I felt really cool, as a like contrast almost. Other than that, I really liked the fetchling. I know you have a specific term that you use for them in game, but it's the fetchling I found very, very interesting and very. He was the one, I think, that you said that like threw up the dagger and all that stuff, did all the like outlandish stuff.
Yes.
If he wasn't a PC and we were just talking about a written story, he is such a good disruptor because he just did stuff that felt correct but outlandish in the situation. Like, yeah, he tried to cut, he threw a knife up to try to cut the lady's finger to get her fingerprint, but like the way he did it was so ridiculous that, one, yes, we knew he had to do it. Two, that should not have worked. And three, it did work, so how do we deal with this now? And that was, I liked his character and how he approached things and how he was so chaotic a lot. I myself find myself very drawn to lawful characters because I like to set rules for a character and follow them rather than just saying, well, I'm going to follow the whims of what I think this character would do, because the following rules is a little bit easier for me. So listening even secondhand to somebody playing such a chaotic character is really interesting for me.
Yeah, that's when I did that game, it was hilarious because that character, good friend of mine, the player who did that one, we did that mostly live. There was one player who was remote, but everyone else was live. And that player just was as chaotic as possible, which I think I caught pretty good in the story. But he did so much nonsense. And he played a character that was the bard-like character, willing and ready to sleep with everything, making all these jokes, making all these references. And the other two characters had their, if we're going in the lawful side of things, had their own brand of stuff. Pun on words because his character's name was Brand.
Mm-hmm.
Like the player who did Aang was more of a serious type, but he was kind of clueless at the same time. So like the bar, right? He was dancing with the Drahi. So in the actual game when we played it, the character who played Koga, which was the rogue, more serious, we got a mission and he disguises himself constantly. Right before they went into the nightclub, he went out of his way to tell the other two players, all right, guys, we have a mission. The most important thing is that we don't split up and we find the person we're trying to find. Both of them go, okay. And the character, or the player who's playing Aang, okay, well, what do you guys do? I would like to go to the dance floor. Why? And he started dancing with the Drahi, and then I think I did a decent job of it, but as describing it. But Aang when we were actually playing it, he kept on trying to fail his performance checks, but he kept on succeeding. So he kept on like rolling natural 20 after natural 20 in the dance check. So obviously the Drahi he was dancing with, if he's rolling that, like I think he rolled 3 natural 20s in a row. It was absurd.
Jeepers.
Oh, it was crazy. He couldn't roll that in a fight, but he could roll that in the stupid performance checks. So obviously, if 3 natural 20s in a dance, that means that the person you're dancing with has fallen madly in love with you. So that's what I did.
Obviously.
And,
that has happened to me every time.
I mean, I don't think you've rolled a natural. 3 natural 20s.
No. In my personal life, anytime I've rolled a theoretical natural 20 on dancing with somebody 3 times in a row, they've fallen madly in love with me.
I mean, if that's how you meet your wife, good for you.
It's not how I met my wife.
So anyway, the fight happened. The red-eyed elf came in, and he started yelling stuff, and he starts shooting at Koga. He's using the little clown to track him down, because Koga's the one who unleashed the clown doll. He caused it all.
Right.
Started all of it. And while this is happening, the character who's playing Aang, or the player who's playing Aang, is like, oh, I want to try to get to it. And then I had the Drahi, nope, I need to protect you because I'm madly in love. So he kept on taking him and running away, and then he escapes, and then she picks him up again, and he escapes, and she picks him up again. And at one point, I think I had to make it absurdly obvious, and I had her say something along the lines of, no, I need to put you in a locked room so you'll be safe because you're trying to run into gunfire. Or something along those lines. So it sounded like he was being kidnapped. And then even then, I don't think he realized it. I had to do another round. And then he goes to the group and he's like, hey guys, I think I might be in danger. And everyone at the table, like, face palms. Did you just realize this? Because it's been like 4 rounds of this giant gorilla lady with wings kidnapping you. uh,
All right. So
but
we're about an hour and a half in. I'm going
yes.
to ask you one last question, and we're going to, I think, call it for the night,
Oh
if
yeah.
that's all right with you.
Oh yeah.
Let's go with what makes this group unique to run for, in your opinion?
So I think part of it is how everyone's from so many different walks of life and so many different, well, parts of the world. We got 2 of you in Canada. We've got one person in Wyoming and then a couple people in Colorado. Very different walks of life. Like some people have been in the education system and are teachers and stuff like that. Some people have been in the intelligence side of things for the government. Some people have been in the contracting thing. Some people have actually been in the opposite of that, and they have. We'll just leave it at that. Uh, but it's such a wide array of life, and it's people coming together and like, hey, we're gonna play a tabletop RPG. We're going to tell this story together, and no one has the main character syndrome, which is fantastic. I've run a few games where I've had to deal with the main character syndrome, and it's rough. Uh, I can get into those stories, but I'd rather tell fun stories. But there's no one in here like that. Like at most, I'd say GrongleCon, but I think that's just because of the story where we are right now in the second core would be a main character syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, it's not even really that. Um, and there's so much going on for all your characters where we can actually uh, get into their story, where no one is overbearing. I think nobody is cutting off other people with their backstory. Nobody is cutting off other people with what they're doing. And it's nice. People are respectful, and everyone has come together to play a game with all of us from all over life, all different ages too. But yeah, and I think it's another part of that would be because we're all from different areas. The way we play the game and the way we play our characters is vastly different, and I think that makes a better story. Like I'm far more into the horror side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Horror, steampunk, cyberpunk, diesel punk, basically all the punk stuff. Um, you're, from everything I've seen, more into the. If I had to describe it, I would say, like story wise, probably more like noir, kind of. At least that's the way you've been playing, I think, overall. Like slowly discovering things, but you got your own stuff going on. And, yes, I've had to deal with these things, da da da, and going from there. And that
Which
might
is,
just be the way you're playing your character, but
I'm not going to lie, I've never watched any film noir ever. So anything that's happening to do with that is just consequential to what's happening in the story.
okay. And let's see, Amos or Nikki. Venture Bros basically is how he plays his character.
Mm-hmm.
Both of his characters have been Venture Bros. That's Venture Bros is a good. I like Venture Bros.
Yeah, yeah, no, they're good. It works for him.
Yeah. Rob. Rob tries to be the bad guy, but he can never do it. And the way he plays his characters always goes into that. He always tries to be the dark and mean bad guy, and it always goes into basically a big teddy bear who pretends to be a big bad guy, but he's always that's every character he's played,
That's
at least that
fair.
I've seen.
That's fair.
Um, yeah, and then Nate is the. If anything, I think he's the lawful good guy. he always, like, here's what we're doing. We got to do the right thing. He always plays a character who has a mission. Whether that mission is the good, he's got to get it done. And that's not really a genre, but I'd say, I guess his is more like a Western. All of his characters are more like a Western. Like, they may not be the good guy, but they're also the good guy, if that makes any sense.
It does. I did watch all of that Yojimbo you told me to watch, and realized that it is just the Japanese version, which I read into a little bit more, and obviously it is, but the man with no name, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
Because it's all
Yojimbo
based off of the Red Harvest or whatever that book is called. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head what it's called, but they're both based off of this one book. Both the Man with No Name and Yojimbo are based off of the I think it's Red Harvest. Let me look up real quick.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I love Yojimbo. Yojimbo is...
Yes, it is Red Harvest.
Yojimbo's, I'd argue, the basis for most of Westerns.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yojimbo's great. And it's not well known, which is a shame.
It is very much a shame. I see why you said that you saw GK in Yojimbo, because I was like, I was watching it and I was like, this is kind of what I was trying to do without actually doing it. And now I get to, like, because I've watched it, try to actually do that thing on purpose and see how that works out. So anyway, that's it's fun. I like that we're kind of all falling into tropes, but also like contrary to our own tropes a little bit.
I think it's wonderful, because when you have all these people with the different things, you don't fall into it. Like, if we were just focused on my thing and we're going into horror, this would be very different. There's obviously a lot of horror aspects, but there's so much humor because of how bad it can be here, where you guys just do things that are just absurd that counter it, and it makes it better, I think.
I think we have to add the humor into it, or else it feels as dreary as it is. Because if you look at the reality of what's happening, it is a dreary, desolate, desperate setting, and not putting humor into that just makes it feel like it is what it is, and not like a living space. It feels like a crumbling space where everybody's sad and depressed. So without that humor that we're adding into it, not to say that you're wrong in what you were writing, but in the format we're presenting it in, I feel like it adds a life to it, a hope to it kind of thing, which is, you need hope to have horror at all, really.
It's great. I mean, that's basically what the story, going back to sensible hysteria, when everything is that bad, the only sensible thing to do is to be hysteric. When the entire city is covered in a drug that will slowly turn everyone into an undead monster until there's nothing left. When there's everything going on with the boogies and them farming people to continue their evolutions into boogeymen and beyond. At the same time, there's all the nonsense with trying to create artificial gods. At the same time, like, there's so many things happening that are just, as you said, dreary to say the least. And yeah, if your character's just focused on that, like Grongolcon has gone through so much.
Oh man!
If he just focused on that, like,
I actually had to, I want to say this out loud. I had to actually take time off of talking in the Discord to process what had happened to GK. Not because only I was upset with the decisions I had made, but because I had to decide how GK as a character was going to deal with the stuff that had happened on top of all the stuff that had already happened. So I had to take a step away and not interact with people to, like, be like, okay, what's going to happen with this guy? Because he's just been, like, everything sucks. Is he just going to jump over the edge of the city? Or, like, what the fuck's he going to do? So,
I mean, he's got friends. He's got Tony and Tabby.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's got Victor and Sean, I guess. And these new guys are maybe.
I think he's got a little bit more of a connection with Amos. I think he's really got a connection with, I keep wanting to call him Lafarge, but Lafarge is a business.
LaRue?
LaRue. Yep. Nope. Yep. LaRue. Anyway, yeah, I think he's got a more of a connection with LaRue because they both have that, like, they had that moment on top, like pulling everybody up where they were just like, yeah, we just gotta like bicep curl these guys up the side of the building, and then they did it. But
I'm
anyway,
excited for next session with how you guys are going to handle it with LaRue, because I'm not going to spoil that, but
well, I mean,
things are going to happen.
so far GK's whole thing has been like, okay, let's sit down and communicate for a minute. So like, I'm really interested to see how that happens with LaRue. So we'll see, because if nothing else, I am quite good at just forcing people to talk.
Yes. Anyway,
Yes.
let's end it with one of these ads.
Yes.
I got them for you. Let's give you the feisty peacock. It's pretty good.
All right. That's that one that I already have up here, I think. So give me a second. I have to unmute this specific tab. Boop. Oh. Got myself over here so I don't hear the background music, maybe?
That's what I was just about to do.
Yeah, just mute the background music and I'll turn this on. I'm hearing piano still.
There you go. It's all muted.
Huh. It's just not, though. Oh, it's on Bloodthorn Pit. I'm hearing the music from Bloodthorn Pit. There we go. Yep. All right. Thank you. There we go. All right. So let's leave on this. And you have a great
Behind
weekend.
Every fine dish,
Yeah, you too.
every rare spice, every moment of delight in Olduvai.
Before he has his last thing, I'm going to say one last thing. Let's see here. What's it going to be? For those listeners out there, what do you want to know about the chaos behind the curtain? Leave a comment down below, and we'll enjoy these ads together.
Stands a name you trust.
Duval's Imports. For over 3 decades, we've brought the world to your plate, sourcing the finest ingredients, rarest wines, and most exquisite treasures from every land the Shori Empire dares to reach. Others settle for local. We deliver legendary. From the vibrant kitchens of the feisty peacock to the private cabinets of nobles and kings, our name means quality. We don't just import goods, we import experiences, wonder, prestige, flavor. I'm Duval, and when you see my mark, you know it's the best the world has to offer, because only the bold bring the jungle to the sky.
Duval's Imports, Tower of Commerce, Floor 9. For trade inquiries, sponsorships, or private supply lines, contact your district's authorized agent today. Duval's Imports, taste the empire.
Even in the darkest hours, love finds a way to shine. Arch, they say the city's built on gears and sky. That love don't live where the towers scrape high. But I've seen hands reach out through rust and rain, and I felt joy grow right through pain. In broken streets, I've heard lullabies. In cracked windows, I've seen sunrise. And when the night feels cold and slow, I hold on tight, 'cause hearts still glow. And you don't need gold, you don't need fame, just someone to call your name. You don't need wings to rise above, just one spark of love. Yeah. We are the spark in the city's soul, light in the dark, filling the holes. Even when it hurts, we still grow. Even in the storm, our hearts still glow. I've kissed regret, but I ain't found a soul I'd rather forget. You with your scars and your shining eyes, you remind me what never dies. It's not the lights that make us bright, it's holding hands through the longest night. And when the silence starts to grow, I listen close, your heart still glows. You don't need gold, you don't need fame, just someone to call your name. You don't need wings to rise above, just moments left of love. Now, we are the spark in the city's soul, light in the dark, filling the holes. Even when it hurts, we still grow. Even in the storm, our hearts still glow. I've danced with shadows, I've kissed regret, but I ain't found a soul I'd rather forget. You with your scars and your shining eyes, you remind me what never dies. So if you're lost and you can't see, know someone's out there thinking of thee. We're stronger than steel, softer than snow, and baby you shine even when you don't know.
We are the spark in the city's soul, light in the dark, filling the holes. Even when it hurts, we still grow. Even when the hearts where our hearts still glow. Yeah, yeah, we still glow.
And we're never alone.
All right, and that is the end of our first episode of Meta Hysteria. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next month.